Music is our final session of the week. And I know that last week, Mrs. Thornton was asking you to think about things that moved fast and things that moved slow. And we're going to carry on with that fast and slow theme this week. And I don't know if you remember or not, but when we talk about music being fast or slow, we are talking about the tempo of the music. And it basically means that a piece of music is fast or slow or somewhere in between. Okay, that's what tempo means. And every piece of music is different. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is you are going to need to stand up where you are and you're going to need a little bit of space around you. I'm going to play you a video now, and you might have listened to the song already, and it's all about fast and slow. And while I get my bits and pieces ready for the next part of the session, I would like you to move your bodies in time to the music. So it's a very old video, but there's some ideas on there for you. The children on there are moving in different ways. So if the music is slow, how would you move? If the music is fast, how would you move? But you might need a little bit of space. So if you get yourself ready while I get the video ready, and then let's have a look and a listen. Off we go.
This is a song about slow. How slowly can you go? As slow as the oak tree grows in the meadow. How slowly can you go? This is a song about fast. Soon it will be in the past. We're in an awful hurry, singing it through. There's so many other things that we want to do. This is a song about fast. It's almost over at last. We're so glad it's ending. We got a clock. It's the radio, know you. Hello and goodbye. This is a song about slow. How slowly can you go? As slow as the oak tree grows in the meadow. How slowly can you go?
So, did you notice the change in tempo? It was really obvious, wasn't it? Because it started very slow, and I'm sure you came up with some better movements for the slow part of the music, and then it moved very quickly to fast music, and then it went back to the slow tempo, didn't it? So you can hear the changes in the tempo. Now, for this lesson, if we were doing it at school, we would be using the instruments in the classroom, but you might be very lucky and have your own instruments at home. If, like me, you haven't got any instruments at home, do not worry, because very quickly I just went into the kitchen and I thought, what can I use to make sound? What can I use as an instrument? Now I've got my water bottle, which I use for school. Now I'm at home this week, so I don't need it. So what I've done is I've put a little bit of rice in the bottom and made my own shaker. Another thing that you can do is, if your grown-ups let you, you could find one of the saucepans, you can find a wooden spoon, and you have got a drum. Now I've got to be very careful. I can't make too much sound because if I do, the computer gets rid of it. So we're trying this video again because of that reason. So instead of me making a sound each time, I'm going to like tap my head or make a movement instead. Okay, so you just listened and watched and moved to music that has a different tempo. And musicians need to listen to the tempo and know the tempo of the music that they are playing as well. Because if they're in a band or if they're in an orchestra and playing with other musicians, they all need to make sure that they keep in time. You can't have one person who's racing ahead and faster than somebody else, and you can't have somebody who is much slower than the other people. So it's really important that they play together using at the same tempo. Now, musicians use several things to help them with that. Now, they use some Italian words. Lots of musical terms are Italian terms, okay? And then we can translate them, we can put them into English. So I'm going to teach you 3 Italian words today that are all to do with tempo. Now, there are lots more than these. I'm just teaching you 3 of them, but they are all to do with tempo of music. Now, the first one I'm going to teach you is this one, which is andante. Now, I wonder if any of you have ever heard the word andante before. Okay, well, andante is Italian, like I said, and it means at a walking pace. Okay, so if you think about when you're walking, just normally, you're not racing, you're not walking really slowly, you're just walking normally. Okay, that's what andante means. That's the speed at which you are walking. The next one I want to show you, another Italian word, moderato. And moderato means at a moderate speed or a medium speed. Okay, so moderato. So moderato is faster than andante. Okay, and then the last one I want to teach you is this one, which is the word presto. So it's an Italian word, and presto means very fast. Okay, so musicians use these words. They understand what those words mean when they are playing music. But another thing that they might use is this. Now, this is called a metronome. And what a metronome does is you put it at the speed that you want it to go, and then it moves and it clicks. And that helps you keep in time to the music. So if I was going to have a look at andante, I would set the metronome up to the speed of andante. So I'm not going to play it yet, but if you have a look, the clicker is towards the top of the metronome. Okay, so just have a listen. I have to put it on the table, so just have a listen and perhaps nod your head in time. Okay, so that's andante. Moderato, so a moderate speed, and it's faster than andante. You can see now that the clicker is more towards the middle of the metronome. So listen to this one and nod your head in time. Okay, and then the last one, presto. Can you remember what presto means? It means very fast. So this one has to go right down towards the bottom of the metronome. And in a moment, I'm going to show you a metronome on the internet so that you can see a bit better. Okay, but it's right at the bottom. So have a listen, nod your head in time. It's a bit tricky, isn't it? Because that's so fast to nod your head in time. Can you imagine playing a piece of music that fast? Be a bit tricky, wouldn't it? Okay, so what I'm going to do, like I said, is I'm going to show you an online metronome. And we are going to do super full screen. So here it is. So if we think about andante, remember when it's slower, it's towards the top of the metronome. So have a listen. Okay, now what you might want to do, you might want to clap, you might want to nod your head, you might want to get your instrument and tap in time to the metronome. So let's have another go. Okay, so that's andante. So the next one, we're going to move it down towards more towards the middle of the metronome, and this is moderato. So have a listen to this one. Nod your head, clap your hands, use your instrument to play in time with the metronome. Okay, that was faster, wasn't it? All right, are you ready to go to presto now? So we're going to go right towards the bottom of the metronome. And are you ready? Exactly the same. Tap your heads, nod your heads, clap your hands, use your instruments to play in time. Off we go. Okay, so 3 very different speeds, 3 different tempos. So we had andante, we had moderato, and we had presto. Now, what I want us to do is I want us to think about some polar animals that move at different speeds. Now, I've had a think and I have thought of 3. So I thought of a polar bear, I thought of a reindeer, owl caribou, and I thought of an Arctic hare. Now I want you to have a think about those 3 animals. So the Arctic hare, a reindeer, and a polar bear. And I also want you to think about those 3 different speeds. Andante, moderato, and presto. So let's start with presto. Which one of those animals do you think would, when they move, is more likely to be presto and to move very fast? Do you think it would be the polar bear? Do you think he would move very fast? Do you think it would be the Arctic hare? If you think the Arctic hare, I agree with you. I think an Arctic hare would move very fast. Okay, so an Arctic hare is presto. Okay, so I'm going to put the Arctic hare back on here for our activity in a moment. Okay, so we've got 2 left. We've got moderato and we have got andante. So let's go to andante, the slowest one. So do we think it is a polar bear, or do we think it could be a reindeer? Which one do you think is the slower of those 2? Okay, if you think polar bear, I agree with you. I think the polar bear would be the slower one of the 2, which means that we've got the reindeer left, which means that we think the reindeer would be moderato. So I'm going to put the reindeer back in the middle like this. Okay, so we've got some pictures on the board behind me. Hopefully you can see them okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a go at being a big year 1 music group. Now I'm going to be the conductor. I've got my conducting stick, my pointer here, and you have to be looking very, very closely. And you're going to need your instruments, or you're going to be clapping or tapping your head or something. Okay, because what we're going to do now is we are going to tap or clap in time for the tempo of each of these animals. So we said that the polar bear was the slower of the 3 animals. So if we were going to clap or tap at an andante speed, okay, so I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to tap my head so that the sound doesn't get deleted from the video. So andante will be like this. Okay, so tap or clap along in time. Okay, so when I point to the polar bear, that is the speed that we are going to clap. Okay, so the next one, the reindeer, moderato. It needs to be a little bit quicker, doesn't it? So we'll do it like this. And hopefully you're doing it with your instruments. Okay, and then the last one, the Arctic hare, we said would be Presto, which is the fastest of the three, and it's very fast. Okay, so it would be it'd be much, much faster. So my job now as the conductor is I'm going to point to the animal and you are going, that's my postman, you are going to clap or tap accordingly, okay? So are you ready? Off we go. And I'll tap my head as well, sorry, so that you can see, but I have to do it here. So did you manage it? It's a little bit tricky, wasn't it? So, especially trying to make all three of them different. It was much easier to do the fastest one, but I think the hardest one was this reindeer, the one in the middle. So this time we're going to do it again, but we're not going to keep the pictures in the same order. I am going to swap some of them, which means that you're going to have to be looking extra closely at the board, because remember we always follow the conductor, so that we are all doing the same. Right, hopefully you can still see them. All right, so you did a really good job before. This time they are in a different order, so you're going to need to change the tempo of your claps or of your taps or of the shaking. All right, so I'll try and do the same. So like I say, I'll tap my head and you are going to follow along. Are we ready? Looking at me, off we go. Okay, so did you hear the difference between the polar bear and the reindeer? Did you hear the difference between the polar bear and the Arctic hare? Okay, you should have been able to hear it because they are different tempos. Now, what you can do now is you're going to have a go, if you want to, at drawing your own pictures of a polar bear and a reindeer and an Arctic hare, or three completely different animals. But one of the animals needs to move slowly, one of the animals needs to move fast, move quickly, and one of them needs to move in between the two. And what you can do is you can just have a little game. Perhaps you could be the conductor for your family, perhaps your grown-ups might be a conductor for you, but just have a go, draw some pictures, cut them out and stick them into different orders and have a go at being a conductor and hearing those different tempos. Okay, so have fun with it and don't forget Pip's challenge for today if you haven't already done it. She wants you to have lots of fun. It's Friday after all. You have all worked really, really, really hard, so you deserve to have some fun time. So put that music on, play it loud. I imagine it will be fast tempo music, won't it? And dance around and sing along, but have fun. Well done, everybody, for a super week, and I will see you soon.